walking down the cobblestones, looking for fun and feeling groovy. La, 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 la. You get to improvise during this part. Here we go. Hello, lamppost, what you knowin'? I've come to watch your flowers growing. Ain't you got no rhymes for me? Do-do-do-do, feeling groovy. Oh, 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 feeling groovy. There you go. Feeling groovy. Do that again. Feeling groovy. Got no deeds. Oh, I did that wrong. Hang on. Here we go. Got no deeds to do, no promises to keep. I'm old and drowsy and ready for sleep. Let the morning time drop all its petals on me. Life, I love you. All is groovy. All is groovy. Da 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 da. Feeling groovy. Feeling groovy. Feeling groovy. Yeah, nice job.
Well, that was kind of fun, huh? Thank you, Victor. He got us back online, too, so we got people online to welcome everybody for joining us online as well. Thank you, Victor. Yeah. Speaking of groovy, I recently went to see the world's smallest wind turbine exhibit. Honestly, not a big fan. All right, before we go further, we'd like to welcome anyone who's with us for the first time, either in the sanctuary or on our live stream, with a special blessing together. We offer you peace, love, and friendship. We bless you, and we're glad you're here. Sherry will come up now and ring the Tibetan bells and ring the daily word and read the daily word. You might ring the daily word too.
Whatever you say, Mark. Good morning.
Good morning.
Feeling groovy.
Yeah.
We now move deeper into spirit with the reading of the daily word. And the word for today is healing. Sometimes it's hard to say no to friends, family, work, church, or volunteer organizations. I'm going to start again. Sometimes it's hard to say no to friends, family, work, church, or volunteer organizations I care about and want to serve. But when I'm overextended and depleted, I don't do my best, and I may put my emotional, physical, or mental health at risk. Taking on too much and saying yes to every request may be a sign there is something deeper within me that is out of alignment and in need of healing. Perhaps I am feeling fear of judgment or a reluctance to disappoint someone. I heal when I slow down, pray, and welcome God's grace. I treat myself gently and make time for relaxation a priority. Secure in divine love, I know when to say yes, or for my well-being, to kindly but confidently say, no, not this time. And the word for today is healing. The Bible verse is, "Bless the Lord, O my soul, and do not forget all his benefits, who forgives all your iniquity, who heals all your diseases." Psalm 103, verses 2-3. Again, the word for today is healing. And now we will have the blessing of the prayer box. Let me get my papers here. Yeah, I'm sure it's here. Oh, here we go. Boy, there's a lot of paper up here. Okay, all right, here we go. Let's now bring our attention to the prayer box. And I invite you to silently add your own name and the names of anyone in your heart or on your mind who may need prayer support. And we know that the truth behind all appearance of disharmony is the divine and perfect presence of God. We call forth within all people the wisdom and strength, the love and peace, the wholeness and vitality of this presence. We declare that divine healing, power, and wisdom is restoring, healing, and harmonizing our world and guiding our leaders for the highest good of all in this very moment. We bless our global family and hold us all in the light of love and peace. And we affirm that the requests in our prayer box and in our hearts and on our minds are being resolved in divine timing for the highest good of all concerned. May the love of God enfold us. May the peace of God uphold us. May the wisdom of God inspire us and help us to know in our hearts that all is well. And so it is. Now, please join me in our affirmation for the day. I am now willing to tolerate more happiness and success. And the affirmation for our spiritual center. Together, we give thanks that Unity of the Valley is a prosperous, thriving, inspired, connected community. We are growing spiritually and manifesting our dreams and goals in an energy of love, peace, and joy. And now Rachel will lead us in the meditation song.
Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place. Surely the presence of God is in this place. I can feel the mighty power and grace. There's a holy hush around us. I see glory on each face. Surely the presence of God is in this place.
Good morning, everyone. Now it's time for a few minutes of meditation. So if you're comfortable closing your eyes, I invite you to do so and let this be an inner experience. First, I invite you to simply become aware of your body. Just notice how it feels. And if there are any tense places in your body. And if there are, just take a moment and scrunch up those places. Just, tense them more. And then let go. Just let them go. and simply become aware of being in the present moment. If other thoughts come, you can just acknowledge them and let them go. Now I invite you to simply become aware and imagine an inner thermometer with 0 on the bottom and 100 on the top. And then think to yourself, how much peace can I tolerate in my life? And see a number on that thermometer. And whatever that number is, take a moment and see it rising as you let yourself know that you deserve to experience more peace. Then see another thermometer, same 0 to 100, and on that thermometer, ask yourself, how much joy can I tolerate in my life? Place that number on that thermometer, and then whatever that number is, see it rising as you tell yourself that you deserve more joy in your life than you thought. And then another thermometer. And this time it's, how much love can you tolerate in your life? And just whatever that number is, see it rising. Rising and rising. As you tell yourself that you deserve more love than you've been able to stand having in your life until now. And then another thermometer for abundance. How much abundance have been okay for you to have in your life? And see that number rising. And then, for a few moments in the silence, let yourself feel directly connected to Spirit in you. And Spirit in you has something to tell you about just how to be able to believe that you can have more of everything in your life than you deserved before. And see that whole thing, that whole thermometer of all of those things rising even more for a few moments in the silence. As you remind yourself that you are an expression of Spirit, of all that God is, you let yourself feel grateful for knowing that Spirit wants you to have all the best of everything that life has for you. So you just take a moment and say, thank you, thank you, thank you, God. Amen.
There's a hero. If you look inside your heart, you don't have to be afraid of what you are, 'cause there's an answer. If you reach into your soul and the sorrow that you know, with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, and you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you'll finally see the truth that a hero lies in you. It's a long road when you face the world alone, when no one reaches out a hand for you to hold. But you can find love if you search within yourself, and that emptiness you felt will disappear. And when a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, 'cause you know you can survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you'll finally see the truth that a hero lies in you. Lord knows that dreams are hard to follow, but don't let anyone tear them away. Hold on, 'cause there will be tomorrow, and in time you'll find the way. And a hero comes along with the strength to carry on, and you cast your fears aside, 'cause you know you will survive. So when you feel like hope is gone, look inside you and be strong, and you'll finally see the truth that a hero lies in you. That the hero lies in you. The hero lies in you.
Wonderful. Thank you, Rachel. That was great. One day, there was a man fishing at the end of a pier. And at the same time, there was another man sitting on a bench not far away, just enjoying the ocean breeze. And the man fishing seemed to be having a lot of success. But there was something curious happening, and the observer noticed that what was happening was that the fisherman was keeping all of the small fish and throwing the big ones back. And after he saw this several times, he said to the fisherman, "Excuse me, I out of curiosity, I just have to wonder, why are you keeping the small ones and throwing the big ones back?" The fisherman said, "Well, that's simple. I only have an 8-inch frying pan." So I have a question this morning. And you might guess what that is. How big is your frying pan? Have you ever asked yourself, how much joy can I stand to feel? And for how long? How much love am I able to receive? How much success can I tolerate? One of my favorite authors is Dr. Gay Hendricks. And in his book, The Big Leap, he talks about something that he calls the upper limits problem. In his book, here's what he says. He says, I have noticed that I and all of my clients, and he has had a lot of them, have a limited tolerance for feeling good. He says, when I hit my upper limit, I manufacture thoughts that make me feel bad. The problem, however, he says, is bigger than just my internal feelings. I also seem to have a limited tolerance for my life going well in general. When I hit my upper limit, I do something that stops my positive forward trajectory. I start to worry, or I get into a conflict with my ex-wife, or I get into a money bind, or I do something else that brings me back down within the bounds of my limited tolerance for happiness and success. This has been my experience as well. And it's aligned with A Course in Miracles, which says, ultimately, we're all more afraid of true success than we are of failure. Eckhart Tolle, in his book, A New Earth, agrees. He says, there is a part of us, he calls it our pain body, that actually seeks more pain. I was writing this and I was getting a kick out of something I remember Hank Williams saying one time. When asked why country music is so popular, he said, because everyone feels good about feeling bad. Dr. Hendricks noticed this upper limit problem in his own life. A long time ago, he said he was starting out, well, he was in a point of his career where he was a research psychologist at Stanford University. And he said life was going really well, and his work was going especially well. And he had just had lunch with a colleague, and they were all both celebrating how well their life and everything in it was working. Immediately afterward, he started to have thoughts about his daughter, Amanda, who was at a certain camp that she had wanted to attend. He started to have pictures in his mind of his daughter, Amanda, feeling terrible because she was lonely, having an awful time at camp, being taunted by the other girls. And it started to seem like it was something he better check out. So he called the camp, talked to one of the counselors, who assured him that Amanda was having a great time and was actually right now, he could see her out there playing soccer with all of her friends. So when Dr. Hendricks hung up, he thought to himself, wait a minute, what just happened here? I was feeling really good, and then all of a sudden I was feeling bad, and he said, you know what, I think that I started feeling bad because I was feeling so good, and I couldn't stand it. He also noticed in working with couples, he and his wife were both therapists working with couples, that when couples were on the verge of unstructured time together, they would often create an argument. He and his wife started calling these the Friday night fights, because it seemed like just, before whatever that unstructured time was, they would find a way to be upset so that they wouldn't have to enjoy the unstructured time so much. And then he said, I realized that they and I could only stand so much good. And then I and they would find a way to sabotage it. When I read this, I thought back to times in my own life. The first one I thought about was a time when I was working here in Minneapolis for Munsingware, and some co-workers and I planned to take a weekend, Memorial Day weekend, at Lake of the Woods fishing. So we drove up on Friday afternoon, got the boat, put it in the water, and just after dinner decided to go out and do some fishing. So almost immediately, someone got their line tangled in the boat motor. And I volunteered to untangle the line, and it was a heavy motor. And it pulled me right over the edge of the boat, splash, into Lake of the Woods I went. Well, fortunately, they rescued me right away because I think the water was about 35 degrees. It was Memorial Day weekend. But unfortunately for me, my glasses went to the bottom of Lake of the Woods. So here was a whole weekend that I could have enjoyed incredible scenery, but no. And then I remembered in my first ministry in Newport Richey. We had just built a 10,000 square foot church. I was feeling really good about myself. And my first wife and I decided it was time for us to buy our first house. So there were two in contention. One was almost new and needed nothing in the way of repairs. We could just move right in and enjoy it. And it had a mortgage payment. Now remember, this is 1978. It had a mortgage payment of $600. There was another one that was a fixer-upper on the river. And we got enamored with the idea of living on the river. And this one had a mortgage payment of $500. But it was a fixer-upper. So that meant that we had to eventually get a second and a third mortgage. So even though it had been $100 less mortgage per month in the beginning, we ended up with a second and third mortgage, having a much higher mortgage payment, and ended up living in drywall dust for a year. I had too much success and couldn't tolerate anymore. Then I remembered my sister, Mary. First time she went on a cruise, it was kind of a big deal for her to go on a cruise. First day on the cruise, she got so sunburned that she couldn't enjoy the cruise. Once again, couldn't tolerate that much success or happiness. Looking back on my own life, it's clear to me that struggle was more attractive and familiar to me than ease was until I began working on myself deeply. In Unity, one of our 5 basic principles is that we create our own reality through our deepest beliefs. So I agree with Dr. Hendricks. It seems like we all have an inner glass ceiling on how much good we can actually tolerate. My wife Laura and I, when we had our school, used to teach an annual workshop called Overcoming the Fear of Success, based on a book with the same title. And the concept was that many of us are not so afraid to fail. We're actually quite used to that. Our real fear is of being too successful. In Dr. Hendricks' book, The Big Leap, he talked about one of his clients who he started working with after the client had this experience. The client had a small business which was very prosperous. He did very well, and grew it to the point where a large company wanted to buy it and offered $5 million for the company. Also, they offered a very attractive, generous 2-year employment contract. And everything was going along fine until one morning this man woke up and started to get annoyed by the fact that he was going to be having 2 weeks less vacation for these 2 years than he was used to. So he called the company that was going to buy his company and got into an argument about it. As a result, the larger company withdrew their offer. And so in working with Dr. Hendricks after this, he said what he realized was he wasn't actually upset about the idea of having 2 less weeks of vacation. What he was upset about was the fact that he felt like deep down he didn't deserve to receive $5 million from anybody for what he had done. And he began to use that as a thing that was kind of like a base, and he began to work with the idea that he deserved much more success and everything in life that he had used to been used to in the past. One of my favorite phrases from A Course in Miracles says, "You're never upset for the reason you think." Now, what A Course in Miracles means by this, according to Dr. Ken Wapnick, a spokesman for it, is that whenever we're upset, we're actually upset because we feel separate from God. Anything else is really not why we're upset. But this saying also relates to the upper limits problem. We're never upset for the reason we think. Dr. Hendricks talks about another couple he worked with. The man of this couple was a billionaire. And he and his wife had periodic fights over and over again because she insisted on buying the most expensive brand of toilet paper. So Dr. Hendricks said, in talking to the man, "Do you actually think these arguments have to do with toilet paper?" And of course he began to see, that is ridiculous. And he realized that he was repeating a pattern from his own childhood where every time money was mentioned, there was a fight. And so he had to be willing to learn to let that go and train himself to realize that discussions of money don't result in conflict, they result in inner peace. Laura and I had a similar experience one time when we were teaching our first program in Houston, Texas. And we were feeling really successful. And so we had enough money to order brand new bedroom furniture, a whole new bedroom suite. One day, I was at the office, she was at home, and I got home, and Laura started picking a fight. This is not usual for Laura, but I've done that too, just so you know, I'm not just talking about Laura in this. Yeah, it was her turn. But after about the third or fourth snarky comment, I said, "Wait a minute, did our bedroom furniture happen to get delivered today?" She said, "Well, yes, but what does that have to do with anything?" So I said, might this trigger an upper limits problem for you? We had actually just done an Overcoming the Fear of Success workshop, so this language was fresh. And she thought about it and she realized it was. It was something that was like passing her parents who had never had this kind of furniture in their house. So once again, we had to raise our upper limits as to what we could tolerate as far as success was concerned. It's like we have an inner thermostat, or maybe we could call it a goodostat. If the joy gets too high, or the love gets too high, or the success gets too high, we find a way to lower it, to sabotage it. Some ways are we can start to worry. We can get sick. We can get hurt. We can have an argument. We can get a traffic ticket. We can lose something. We could be overdrawn in the bank. Neil Simon once had a song called "There Must Be 50 Ways to Leave Your Lover." So I said we could actually have a song, "There Must Be 50 Ways to Sabotage Ourselves if things actually get too good." That is, until we start becoming aware of our upper limits and begin to raise them. Where do these upper limits come from? Well, spiritually speaking, again, according to A Course in Miracles, it's all about guilt. It says that the root of all guilt is a belief in separation from God and what it calls the authority problem, which it says is believing that we ourselves are the author of our life, our own life, rather than letting God live our life through us by listening to and following our guidance. So how do we raise our upper limits? How do we allow ourselves more good in our life? Well, one way is that we can begin noticing when we're sabotaging ourselves, especially if we find ourselves looking for something to worry about, because worry actually is an addiction. or if we start looking for something to argue about. Anybody ever done that in your life along with me? Yes. We can practice forgiving ourselves for believing that we are separate from God. The Sufis say that this one thing, the belief that we're separate from God, is the sin that causes all other sins. We can forgive whoever taught us that we're guilty or undeserving. Whoever that might have been in your past or mine, whether it's parents or teachers or whatever, for me, the Lutheran Church plays a role. Because my whole childhood, I learned every Sunday that I was a miserable sinner. And we used to sing songs like Amazing Grace, which saved a wretch like me. So, I get to keep working on forgiving the Lutheran Church over and over again. And then we also could go right to the source of guilt and practice surrendering to God every single day, which is what I try and do in my life. And A Course in Miracles also helps us with that. It says, fear of the will of God is the strangest concept that mankind ever came up with. And finally, last but not least, we can practice training our mind through working with daily affirmations like this one. I am now, and always have been innocent. I'll say that once more and then ask you to join me. I am now and always have been innocent. Together? I am now and always have been innocent. And this one. The more I surrender to God, the better life gets. Together? The more I surrender to God, the better life gets. Alan Cohen, in one of his books, says, life will get as good as you can stand it to get. So let this week be about raising your upper limits. Let yourself have more love, more joy, more peace, and more prosperity in your life. You are innocent. You are an innocent, lovable expression of God, and you deserve to have a life of ease, success, and joy. I'm going to say that one more time in the first person and then ask you to join me in affirming that out loud. I deserve to have a life of ease, success, and joy. Together? I deserve to have a life of ease, success, and joy. So begin today to raise your upper limits, to raise the bar on how much good you can tolerate in your life, because you deserve it. Namaste.
Listen, as your day unfolds, challenge what the future holds. You gotta keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears, but go ahead, release your fears. You're gonna stand up and be counted. Don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You got to be cool, you got to be calm and stick together. All I know is love's gonna save the day. Herald what your mother said. Read the books your father read. You're gonna solve your puzzles in your own sweet time, because some may have more cash than you and others take a different view. And my, oh my, hey, you gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You got to be cool, you gotta be calm, you're gonna stick together. 'Cause all I know is love will save the day. And don't ask no questions, it goes on without you, leaving you behind if you can't stand the pace. You know the world keeps on spinning, can't stop it if you try to. This time it's dangerous staring you in the face. Ooh. So listen as your day unfolds, challenge what your future holds. Keep your head up to the sky, 'cause lovers, they may cause you fears. Go ahead, release your tears, and my, oh my, hey, you gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser, you gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger, you gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. All I know is love will save the day. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser, you gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger, you gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stick together. 'Cause all we know, and yes we know, love will save the day.
As always, Rachel, outstanding. I've said this many times. I love that we can here we can have music like that to listen to, right? So, excellent. Reverend Phil, great information there as well. Many of you know that I'm in sales, and the best and maybe sometimes worst thing about sales is we're evaluated and paid by our commissions and our sales dollars, right? So inevitably, I've been at this present job for 9.5 years. I'll look at my numbers and I'll see them up, and I'll go, yes. And my second thought always is, oh crap, I got to live up to this next year, because literally every year it's like, what did you do? Now, what are you doing now, right? Yeah, so I have actually learned, because, well, I have the track record now in 9.5 years, like, I'll have a record year, and I'm, how am I possibly going to beat it? And the next year, if I just do what I'm supposed to do, which I do, amazingly I do, and I have every single year. So you keep that attitude, and my attitude's changed. I'm not going to say I never look at it and go, oh crap, because I just did it the other day, but I'm able to more responsively to myself go, no, you'll be fine. You did it last year, you did it the year before. So anyway, thank you for that information. All right, we now have the opportunity to give our love offering from our hearts. We invite you to give in full awareness that the act of giving is the opportunity to develop and demonstrate greater trust in God and as the ultimate source of all good. If you'd like, hold your gift in your hand as we read our love offering affirmation together, or if you give electronically, you can take a colorful heart and place it in the basket that's being passed around. Please join me in this love offering affirmation. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I give, all that I receive, and all that I am.
I'm changing the song so you can just listen. Stay gentle, keep the eyes of a child. Don't harden your heart or your hands. Know to find joy in the darkness is wise, although they will think you don't understand. Don't let the world make you callous. Be ready to laugh. No one's forgotten about us. There is light on your path. Stay gentle. Keep the eyes and wear your heart on your sleeve. Know to find joy in the darkness is wise, although they will think you are naive. Don't let them lower your shoulders. Love them more when they try. Grow younger while you're growing older. Be amazed by the sky. Darling, stay wild if you can. The girl with the world in her hands. The kingdom of heaven belongs to a boy, while his worry belongs to a man. So stay gentle, stay gentle. The most powerful thing you can do. Oh, gentle, unbreakable you.
That was beautiful. I know we're going to do our quick blessing. Come on up. I just want to make commentary too that's cool about what that. Sorry, she always smiles when she sings, right? And reason I say that is I was watching all you guys. A lot of you guys smile too. Gretchen and I went to some of you that are friends with me on Facebook saw this. Caden had the honor. I'm sorry, I'm plugging this one out, but he was the middle school choir was chosen. Only one middle school and one high school choir in the whole state was chosen to sing in front of all the choir singers for the whole state. And the reason I mentioned it is not to brag about my son, but my son's group was awesome. And then we saw this Owatonna High School. Oh my gosh, they were just like, they blew me away. But I was watching, I was observing things, and those guys, when they sang, they were smiling, and they just all had these looks on their face, and you watch the people watching. And that's just kind of fun when you, and sorry for all that commentary, I just think that's so cool. All right. Please join me as a community in blessing this offering and good of any kind so generously given to give support to Unity of the Valley this week. Thank you, God, for providing all the resources we need to accomplish our mission of transforming lives. We dedicate these gifts to your service and to the blessing of our larger community through all we teach and do here at Unity of the Valley. Amen. Thank you, Kate. All right, I have a few brief announcements, and please see your bulletin, the weekly buzz, and our website for details on other announcements. If you don't receive the buzz and would like to, you can sign up over in the hallway at the table there or on our website, and you're welcome to take the inside of the bulletin as well. Our upcoming Wednesday, November 19th, Trance of Scarcity class will complete this series. It will be held in our sanctuary from 7 to 8:30 p.m. Thank you, attendees, for your contributions of energy and ideas to this class. Now you can stop holding your breath and start living your life. Next Sunday, November 23rd, will be Communion Sunday. Join our beautiful 10 a.m. service in gratitude for one another and our community as we share our share of divine substance and spirit in communion. Also, next Sunday, instead of our usual last Sunday of the month, we'll be enjoying a Gratitude Sunday potluck. Our center is supplying the turkey, so bring your favorite Thanksgiving side and or dessert to share. A sign-up sheet for the potluck is in the hall on the table listing the traditional Thanksgiving sides so the kitchen angels know what to expect and plan accordingly. If you'd like, you are invited to also contribute something for our Thanksgiving food drive for 360 community food shelves. Please refer to the most needed food items list. A link to that list is on our website under the Gratitude Sunday potluck announcement and on the shelf by the sanctuary door, as well as on the table in the hall. Let's share our abundance with those less fortunate. If you'd like one-on-one prayer support, Prayer Chaplain Sherry Johnson would be honored to pray with you over by the prayer angel in the corner after the service. Also, members of the board will come up to the front again today after the service to answer questions and or discuss concerns about Rev Tony as well. Please stand if you're able to and comfortable to do so for our prayer for protection. Together. The light of God surrounds us. We are that light. The love of God enfolds us. We are that love. The power of God protects us. We are that power. The presence of God watches over us. We are that presence. Wherever we are, God is, and all is well. Let's repeat our affirmation for the day and further embed it into our consciousness, and then remain standing as Rachel will lead us in our closing song, the Peace Song. Together, I am now willing to tolerate more happiness and success.
Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Let there be peace on earth, the peace that was meant to be. With God as our creator, family all are we. Let us walk with each other in perfect harmony. Let peace begin with me. Let this be the moment now. With every step I take, let this be my joyous vow. To take each moment and live each moment